acrobatics do not belong in a Dracula film. Save them for the bloody circus. In fact, talking of circuses, this movie was a kind of circus, but not a very enjoyable one. Thanks for bloody giving us one big joke of a Dracula film. You've really knocked us out for the count this time. Hi guys, welcome to another video. Hope you're all keeping well. Now, I thought I'd just pop upstairs to do this quick video review because I've just watched this new Dracula movie, Renfield, starring Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on it, but before I say anything else about the movie, I'll just read you the blurb at the back just in case you're not familiar with this movie. Behind every great monster is an overworked sidekick. Nicholas Hoult stars as Renfield, the tortured aide to history's most narcissistic boss, Dracula, Nicolas Cage. Now, for centuries, Renfield has slavishly served Dracula by procuring his master's prey and doing his every bidding, no matter how debased. But now, Renfield is ready to look for a new life outside the shadow of the Prince of Darkness. If only he can figure out how to end the toxic, codependent relationship. So there you go, guys. That's the synopsis for this new Dracula movie, Renfield, starring Nicolas Cage, Alright then, guys. On to my thoughts on the movie as a whole. Well, so many bad things I can say about this movie, guys, but I'll make the video as short as I can, because I don't want to go on too much, Well, for starters, I thought I was watching some kind of a mad superhero movie rather than a Dracula, a Dracula movie, because there's so many excessive fight scenes, very reminiscent of Kung Fu style, what Bruce Lee used to do in his Kung Fu movies. I also hated the narrative style of the main character, Renfield. This was more of a kind of a character study rather than a straight out-and-out horror movie. I didn't like the license of humour either, unfunny humour. I thought that totally ruined the movie, I didn't like the titular character Renfield at all, very, very disappointing. In fact, I hated all the characters, guys, even Dracula, played by Nicolas Cage, I thought it was one of the worst Dracula movies I've ever seen, wasn't scary in the slightest, very disappointing. The story was all over the place, and what was all that about, where the at the beginning of the movie, where they sort of done a flashback to the original Universal Dracula. It went into black and white, and it seemed to superimpose both Dracula's head and Renfield's head onto the original characters of the the Lugosi movie from 1931. I thought that was a bit strange, and it was sort of like watching that, you would think, oh, this is going to be a good reimagining of the Lugosi movie. It was far from that. It was a total car crash of a movie, if you ask me. I thought the Gary Oldman movie Dracula was bad, but this was even worse, guys. One thing I don't like in my horror movies with too much corny humour in, and this certainly had it in bucket loads, guys. It really did. As I say, I thought the Gary Oldman Dracula movie was bad. I thought the Gary Oldman Dracula movie was bad, but this has surpassed it now. For being basically one of the worst Dracula movies I've ever seen in my whole life. I didn't like that scenario either, where they were all sitting around like in a self-help group, like Alcoholics Anonymous, talking about the problems and that, getting everything out into the open and that, they sort of wove that in to the Dracula story, and it was a bit crazy the way they done it. I thought, going from scene to scene and that, going backwards and forwards from that scene where they're all sitting around, as I say, like Alcoholics Anonymous and that, talking about the problems and that. One speaks, then the other speaks, then the other speaks. That was unneeded, that. It's the first Dracula movie. I think this is the first in a Dracula movie where I was seeing that kind of scenario, like a kind of self-help group and that, and there's a host, as I say, like going from one to the other, like, you know, telling people to relate their problems and that. The first Dracula movie I've ever seen that sort of thing in, you know. Story was all over the place, you know. It was going from scene to scene. There was too many police you know, chases and that, you know, too many acrobatics, as I implied at the beginning of this movie, you know, people getting flung all over the place and that. And Dracula, Cage's Dracula, he had, like, instead of just having one lot of fangs, well, to begin with, because later in the movie you do see his fangs sprout, his main fangs. He had this row of, like, all razor sharp teeth, all level teeth and that, which seems to be a common thing now, a lot of these vampire movies. They don't just give them the two fangs, they make all the top rows of teeth, like sharp canines and that. And it was quite comical, really, because as he was speaking, you know, he sounded like like that, like, you know, I heard Dracula. I think I need a good dentist. Yeah, you know what I mean, guys? You know, the teeth seems to sort of like detract from Dracula's diction. You know, his speech. In my opinion, anyway, that's just my opinion. Yeah, but oh yeah, guys, I was really disappointed. I will give it one good thing though. One good comment. I did like the part where Dracula bursts into this like kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, and he slaughters everybody. Basically, slaughters everybody with one sort of like a lash of his arm, basically, which suggests what the original Dracula by Bram Stoker did on the ship, the Demeter, you know, when Dracula came to England on the ship, the Demeter, when he slaughtered all the crew. He most probably done something like that. Yeah, but as I say, when comparing this guy to the original Stoker, worlds apart, too much humour, too much of a character study, and I'll just show you the back, guys. There's a couple of stills, guys, from the back, yeah. Too reliant on special effects at the expense of story. It's the same old thing, isn't it, with Hollywood and that, you know, now they're relying too much on special effects, aren't they, rather than giving us a good solid story. And Dracula is a story, it's a classic horror story, it's one of my all-time favourite horror stories, and I was very disappointed when they just threw everything out the window, basically, and just sort of like done their own version. See, this is where they slip up, these modern filmmakers, where they do something different with a story. You've got to make sure it's good. It's a good variation. Otherwise, you make a total mess of it. And this is sadly, guys, this is another one, Renfield, where they made a total mess. You know, a total mess of a popular, a classic horror story by doing something different. You know, if you can't make a good story, you know, if you're doing something different, I'd say leave well alone. You know, that's just my opinion anyway. The story was flipping to one scene and another fight scene, then the scene to a cop, and then scene back to the like the Alcoholics Anonymous kind of self-help group. I was getting confused, you know. It was like it was a little bit like the Elvis movie. It was going from, you know, jarring cuts from going from scene to scene to scene, and I bloody hate that in a movie. Well, if of course you've been watching me videos, you know how much I hate that, and I hate bloody flashbacks as well, you know. But yeah, this movie was guilty of all the things that beset that awful Van Helsing movie that was released a few years ago. The special effects, most notably, too much reliance on cheesy special effects at the expense of story, you know, and that's where it fell flat on its face, Renfield, for me, guys, yeah. But I do know this is a Marmite movie. I do know some people like it and some people hate it, and as much as it pains me to have to say I am in the latter category, I absolutely hated it. I won't be adding it to my collection, and it's going to be flung on eBay right after I've done this video. I'm going to just throw it on eBay and hope somebody buys it, yeah. But the only, as I say, like that was the only good scene really, when Dracula bursts into the group and he levitates up in the air and he slaughters everybody in that. But even some of the special effects were corny, cheesy, you know. And yeah, this is, as I say, there's a lot of these movies go wrong. They put too much reliance on special effects, you know. And as I say, Dracula, you know, I didn't like the Dracula. Cage's Dracula at all, you know. There was nothing scary about the movie. It was too much comedy in it. It was, as I say, it was more of a character study of Renfield. They seem to make him, well, obviously being at Renfield, he would make him the same. They would make him like the main sort of like aspect of the story. But I think they did a little bit too much with the character study, the narrative with him and that, you know. And he was a very, very dull, boring character, you know. I didn't root for him at all. I actually didn't root for any of the characters. I mean, as I say, even Dracula himself was a misfire, you know. They got it wrong. But then again, just my opinion, you know. That you know, if you haven't seen a movie, don't take my opinion as set in stone. Go and see it for yourself and make your own mind up, just as I did when I heard mixed things about it. Some people said, oh, you mightn't like it. But I thought to myself, well, I'll give it a go, you know. But yeah, disappointed, guys. Yeah, very disappointed. And to be quite honest, I don't think the late great Christopher Lee would have been particularly impressed if he'd have saw this movie, because he always liked to portray Dracula very, very seriously and that, you know, and he did take a dim view to anybody who happened to scoff or let loose a laugh on the set and that. And he used to say, this is a very serious movie, you know, and you shouldn't really laugh, ridicule. Yeah, I don't think Christopher had been too keen on this one, you know. And even Peter Cushing as well, if he'd have been still here, I don't think he'd have particularly liked it, you know. But oh yeah, very, very disappointing movie, guys. You know, it was just a mess, you know, it really was. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say I don't know what they were thinking of putting that in the beginning. The nod to Lugosi, like superimposing their heads on the images from the original 1931 Dracula. I thought that was a bit of a misstep, a grave misstep actually. How dare they? How dare they? Yeah. Yeah, so all in all, guys, I thought Renfield was a crazy hodgepodge of excessive acrobatic special effects, jarring scenes, kung fu like fights, dull and irritating characters, and too many police action chases. Yeah, actually, it did seem more of an action comedy movie to me, and of course a character study rather than a Dracula movie, you know. And it's definitely one of the worst Dracula movies, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I've ever seen in my whole life. But you know, I have to say again, that's just my opinion. Yous might like it. I'm not trying to put you off, you know. I don't want to rant on too much about how poor it was. Go and see it for yourselves, or rent it for yourselves, buy it for yourselves. Make your own minds up. I'm not trying to impose my opinion on you, not to see it, not trying to dissuade you. You know, everybody's got their own opinion. You know, if you want to see the movie, go and see it, you know, and see what you think. Yeah, but it wasn't for me, guys. You know, it didn't have any atmosphere, but like, you know, it didn't have the kind of atmosphere we all love in a good Dracula movie. You know, like the Dracula movie was what Christopher Lee used to make, very, very dark, sinister, ominous atmosphere. You know, particularly in the scenes leading up to Dracula's resurrection and that. You know, oh yeah. Christopher Lee was by far, I've said it before, I don't need to go on too much, he's the best Dracula in my book ever. You know, I don't think anybody's come close to Christopher Lee, in my opinion. I don't think they ever will. You know, he just had that certain magic of, you know, portraying Dracula. He got it spot on, you know, which is more than can be said for this version of Dracula, you know, yeah. All right then, guys, I've ranted on enough now. On to me ratings now for the Renfield. I've got no hesitation, guys. It's just going to be a big fat 0. Yeah, because that's how much I dislike this movie. You know, it's I didn't care for it at all. You know, as I say, the acrobats, there's too many acrobatic scenes and that. You know, and even when Dracula encountered like his potential victims, there was nothing menacing or scary about him and that. He went to these kind of weird diatribes and that. You know, as I say, with his teeth and that. You know, oh god. Yeah, yeah. All right then, guys. Yes, it's good. As I say, 0 out of 10. You know, and I hope they don't make a sequel. I just hope and pray they don't make a sequel. You know, because it didn't. As I say, it just didn't seem like a Dracula movie to me, guys. It was just a way. It missed the mark completely. It didn't tick one single box for me, I have to say, guys. And at the end of the day, this will not be finding a place in my Dracula collection. It's actually made me want to go right now and watch a couple of my old Dracula movies just to recapture the magic of of how Dracula should be portrayed. Lee, Lugosi, and even John Carradine. You know, and you know, he wasn't a particularly scary Dracula, but oh by God, he was serious. You know, yeah, yeah. And Louis Jordan, of course, his Dracula was good, yeah. But yeah, this one, guys, as much as you know, a top actor Nicolas Cage is and that, you know, and yeah, well, those people like them playing Dracula, you know, playing this role. Yeah, well, you know, that's their opinion, you know, they're welcome to it. Wasn't for me, guys. I think he was miscast in this, to be honest with you. And as I say, I won't be revisiting this in a hurry, yeah. All right then, guys, so that's my review of Renfield. Have you seen Renfield? What did you think of it? To share my opinion, it was a very, very disappointing Dracula movie. Too much of a character study, too much comedy, and those bloody acrobatic fight scenes, they should have been cut right out. Too many throwing people around and that, you know, and too much up in the air. Oh, yeah, yeah. Very out of place, guys, in a Dracula movie, yeah. Where was all the dark atmosphere? Where was all the crumbling castles? Where was all the menacing menacing invasions by Dracula into the potential victim's bedroom late at night? Where was all that? You know, where was all the occult ceremonies trying to bring him back to life and that? You know, oh yeah. No, not a patch on Christopher Lee. All the great scenes. What you used to see in Christopher Lee's Dracula movies. Yeah, at the end of the day, guys, I'm not going to say any more about it, guys. I just didn't like it, yeah. All right, then, guys, that's it. That concludes my review of Renfield, yeah. And as I say, if you've seen it, leave a comment down below. The usual, you know, if you like the video, please feel free to share, subscribe, comments, and all going well. We'll be back again very, very soon with another video. Take care. Bye for now. Bye. What do you think of the movie so far then, Al? Rubbish!